Hi everybody, it's Llewellyn, and Llewellyn's Life. Welcome back. And I just wanted to talk about a subject today that has to do with beauty and with feeling good about yourself. Now, I know that there are tons and tons and tons of beauty gurus that are on YouTube, and there's all different kinds of ways that they change things up and they do things and put on makeup and what have you. But for those of us with mature faces and mature skin, some of those methods just don't work. I mean, they cake and they settle into fine lines and crevices and even deep lines like small lines and the L's and whatever else. So I've tried all of their methods. It doesn't work, at least not on an everyday basis. There are some who are of a more mature age and they do other beauty videos, but for the most part, they're younger people who have a different way of looking at things than we do as mature people. Now, let's face it, none of us as mature people, no matter what age group we may be in, our 40s, our 50s, our 60s, our 70s, our 80s, our 90s, or 100s, we don't want to spend all day putting on makeup. We don't want to spend the 1 to 2 hours or more that people, these beauty gurus, want us to do, and false eyelashes and all that kind of stuff. Ugh, do we? Okay, so let's just take a look at the fact that some of us don't have perfect skin at this age, and we need some type of even out coverage to our faces, along with moisturizers, along with pore reducers, along with all kinds of other stuff. And we spend hours and hours and hours literally putting on our makeup every day. And that's not necessarily what we need to be doing. We have other things to spend our time on, don't we? So let's talk today about a very easy method of putting on makeup that really requires very little effort on our part. It's one product and one product only for our faces. And what you're seeing here, is not a whole pile of product that I'm putting on my face. This is my everyday. I'm going to the grocery store to do my shopping, or out to do shopping, or out for lunch, or out for coffee with somebody. This is I'm going to the doctor's and I want to look decent look that I put on my face. This is not camera makeup. This is what I put on my face on a basis of those types of things. If I'm just running to the grocery store because I'm in the middle of mixing up a cake mix or something for eggs, I'm going to go sans makeup, without makeup. I'm going to go au naturel. And let's face it, a lot of us do have some redness to our skins. We have, especially me, I've got like little broken capillaries beside my nose and my cheeks, along my chin. That's thinning skin. There's a name for it, and I forget what the dermatologists call it, telangiectasias or something like that. They're actually not broken capillaries. They're just capillaries that come closer to the surface of the skin so they're more easily seen. Younger people don't have that, but older people or more mature people do tend to have more of them. And sometimes it's just genetic. Sometimes it's, all kinds of other things. But let's get down to the brass tacks here, okay? Let's get right into this. What I have on my face today is what I would wear on a normal basis. Let's go into the fact that the beauty gurus will tell you need, basically to wash your face, which we all need to do, and I have done that. We need moisturizer. We need sunscreen. We need some sort of primer. And then foundation, and then we need concealer, and then we need, the list is exhaustive of the products that we need, and it keeps the makeup companies in business and keeps them going. But do we really need to put on all that stuff? Do we really want to do it? It's either do it all or do nothing. So I go midstream, and I have one product here, and it looks kind of pretty because of the saran wrap or plastic wrap that I've got over the top. That's just my preference. You don't have to do this. And this bottle, and let me see if I can get a little closer, comes from a dollar store. Yes, that's right. It comes from a dollar store. It's like a package of 3, and it's like $1.25 or something like that for a package of 3. This is my beauty cream, or my beauty balm, or my BB cream, as they call it. And it's got everything all in one. It's got moisturizer, it's got sunscreen, it's got primer, powder, foundation, and a more full coverage foundation, which gets watered down with the amount of other things that you're going to add. Face powder, and so it dries down to a matte color, a matte finish. So you don't need all of this other stuff. First of all, you're going to need a bowl. I'm sorry about the size of this one, but you're going to need a bowl for mixing. Next, you're going to need a knife for scraping. So I've just got a plastic knife here, as you can see. And you're going to need a spoon. Okay, first of all, we want to add our moisturizer. So let's start with the Cetaphil. And this is just a rough estimate. So it doesn't have to be exact, but let's just use the plastic spoon, and we'll put about a teaspoon of moisturizer in the bowl, okay? Next, we want our primer. And now I'm going to try about a tip of a teaspoon of the, oh, this is green too. I didn't know this. This is the first time that I bought this. I'm going to use a little bit of the hard candy and the pore minimizer, and I'm going to use a little bit of that's less green. Okay, so I'm learning as I go. I haven't seen this one before. But anyway, I'm going to use this, and that's approximately half a teaspoon. So we're going to put that into the mixture. And that is your primer. Now, let's try with the foundation. Oh, sorry, no, let's go to the sunscreen. And let's add, so let's try the sunscreen, and you'll see how white this is. We're going to try about a teaspoon of the sunscreen so that we get, full coverage, and we're putting that into the mixture. Next, let's move to our foundation. So we're going to use the Infallible because it's quite a bit darker. And I'm going to use about half a teaspoon of this. Sorry for the sounds. It has sound effects. I might not get half a teaspoon out of this. And this is difficult because it's, what do you call it? A paste. It's fuller than what you really need. So let's put this aside. And we're going to try some of the Better Skin foundation. And for this, I don't know whether this pump works, so let me try. You know what? It's easier if I just take the cap off. Now I managed to get out a bit more of the Infallible, the more total coverage. So, and this is pumping now. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the Better Skin. And again, this is too dark for my complexion for this time of the year, but that's about a level teaspoon. So let's put that in. Don't worry, it'll all get mixed up. We can put a little bit more in if we want, and I think I will. I think I'll put a little bit more in because I like more coverage. Some people don't, so put less foundation in if you want less coverage and more foundation if you want more coverage. Okay, now this is where the knife is going to come really in handy. As I said, this is a physician's formula, and as you can see, there's several different colors of both powder and skin tone there. And because this is so white and that foundation is going to water this down, and the sunscreen and the moisturizer is going to water this down so greatly, you need a little bit of color to this. And I don't think that my foundation was, you know, big enough, so I'm just going to scrape a little bit of this off and we'll test it and see how it goes afterwards. I'm using the darkest sections along with some of the lighter sections, so we've got some powder in there. That also gives it a bit of texture. Okay, now we're going to need about a teaspoon of powder. And this is just the mineral wear, as I said. And so we're going to need about a teaspoon of this just to give it some texture and, you know, give it what it needs to adhere to your face a little bit better. I'm shaking it into the cap to, you know, give me a little bit more. And I'm also going to add some of the Marcel. It's the Luminous Powder. And this is another one of these ones that are going to shake into the spoon. And it's shaking all over the place while we're at it, but let's add it anyway. And, well, it's not quite a teaspoon, so let's get a full teaspoon. But because we put some bronzer in there too, it's a powder that we've, you know, scraped off. So let's do that. And we're going to add that to the mixture. And I think that's about it for mixture. So we're just going to combine all of these together. And you don't need to sit and watch me mix this together. So I'll be back when I have this all mixed up. Okay, now as you can see, this is pretty mixed and it's pretty lumpy, but it's also pretty spread out throughout your bowl. So this is where your spatula is going to come in handy. You're going to scrape off your spoon the best that you can. Don't worry if you don't get it all. It's no big deal. Your first try too, you know, is going to be a little bit different than everybody else's, so don't panic over this. But let's get this scraped off as much as we can. And there's still some sunscreen there, as you can see. But let's put that aside onto a piece of paper towel and let's scrape off our bowl. And you don't need to watch me scrape this off, so let me scrape it off and I'll be right back. Okay, now this is where your baggie is going to come in handy. We're going to put what's in the bowl into the baggie. So, you know, let's just put this in and we'll try to get it as close to the corners, one of the corners, as you can. It's dripping all over the place, but you know, don't worry about it right now. You're going to have a clean surface. Your hands are going to be clean, as you usually do when you're working with any type of product, especially something like this. And again, you don't need to see me scrape out the whole bowl, so I'll be right back when I've got that scraped out and into. Okay, now that you've got it all into your baggie, we're going to zip it up. And I'm going to press it all down into the corner of the baggie. You see how I'm doing that? I'm just, you know, like you would a pastry bag or anything like that. You're just going to try to get it into a corner of a baggie or whatever it is that you're using, but it should be, you know, something that you can squeeze. And this is where you're going to cut the tip off. And a little bit is going to come out, and you're going to squeeze it into the bottle. that you bought at the dollar store. Now, this makes a very little bit of product, but you don't need that much. We get a lot more in our cosmetic bottles sometimes. Other times we get less. It just looks like a lot more because of the way that they make the bottles. But you've got all of your products in one right here in this mixture. And I think I've got pretty much everything that I can get out of this out now. So I'm going to end this here, continue squeezing, clean up my bottle. And okay, now as you can see, we have our product here. We have our BB cream, which is almost a full coverage. Like I say, you can make it lighter by using a lighter shade of foundation, or you can make it a little bit lighter in terms of liquidy by using less foundation or less coverage foundation. But if you want a little more coverage for everyday use, I suggest that you use a decent foundation. It doesn't have to be the top of the brand, it could be the lowest, but you basically want to remember that the moisturizer and the sunscreen and everything else that we put in here is going to water it down tremendously. So it's an everyday type of thing as opposed to a partial just good time out. Now I like to take a little bit of my saran wrap here, or plastic wrap, or whatever it is that you've got around the house, and put it over the top just to seal it, and tighten down the lid. And it's a step that you really don't need, but I shake it one more time once I've got it in the bottle, and you can put a label on it. You can do whatever you want with it. And don't forget too that this is extra moisturizing. Not only have you got like your foundation, and which is moisturizing, but you've got your moisturizer, and you've got your sunscreen, which is also moisturizing. So you've got a lot of moisturizing in here, especially for winter time. This may be where you want to put in more powder in the summer, but for now, this works out beautifully the way that it is. So you can put a label on the front of this. You can leave off this, aluminum foil, not aluminum foil, saran wrap, and you can put a label on the front. Now, don't forget that this is not going to go bad. This is not going to go, whatever your products are, whatever foundations that you've used, like let's say the sunscreen, whenever the due date is up on that, on the crimps, or your moisturizer or your foundation, that's when this goes bad. You do not need to keep this in the fridge. You do not need to do anything with this. But boy, even just what spilled over in my hands has soaked in and has been moisturizing. And I will be right back because I'm going to show you how it looks as the finished product. Okay, so now that you've seen the video on how to make this little bottle of stuff, which will last and last and last, because you don't need all of that much, really. It looks like it's a very little bit, or it looks like a full bottle. It's really not. It's about, as you see in the video, it's maybe a third full or whatever, but it makes quite a bit, and it lasts, and it goes a long way, and it's got everything in it that you need. So now that you've seen how this is made, let's hope that you're going to make your own, and you're going to make an attempt to make yourself feel better. Even if that's the only thing that you ever put on, you never put on another stick of makeup, you never do another thing. If that's something that you need because you don't have the perfect skin, or you have aging skin, and you want some more moisturizer or whatever, and you just want to feel good about yourself, try that. Try my beauty cream, or my BB cream as they call it. Now, I wasn't the one to come up with this. I want this disclaimer in here. I wasn't the one to come up with this. Another YouTuber or several other YouTubers, I don't know where it started. I just used my own formulation. I just used my own products, what I had, what I wanted to put in there, what I felt was best for me, my skin, and the depth of color and coverage that I wanted to get. Everybody else can do it their way. like as I said in the making of the video. So on that note, I'm going to end here. Have a great day or evening whenever you're watching this. Love and light. Bye for now. See you in my next video.